UK's Transport Secretary Philip Hammond is visiting some of China's largest cities to learn more about its transport infrastructure, and he joins us from Bloomberg's Hong Kong office. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. In terms of what your biggest fears, we had this very stark warning from the IMF just a couple of days ago saying, you know, Britain risks, by doing too much austerity and too many cuts, plunging back into a recession. How concerned are you about this, and what are your Asian counterparts saying?
Well, in terms of the overall economic stance, it's clear that the fundamental problem is around debt. The UK government has set out a clear and credible plan to eliminate our cyclically adjusted deficit. Because we are determined to do that, and because people can see that we're determined to do that, I think we're getting credit in the market for having a clear and properly thought through plan, and we will stick to delivering that plan. Of course, in parallel with that, we need to stimulate economic growth, and one of the ways in which we can do that is by encouraging infrastructure investment, and we've set out a big program of transport infrastructure investment. And one of the things that I'm doing on this trip is trying to encourage private sector investors to look at the opportunities for infrastructure investment in the UK market.
And I want to get back to your trip on the emerging markets, and especially in Asia, in just a second. But what are the chances now of the UK falling into a double-dip recession in the next 6 months?
Well, the UK economy is growing, albeit more slowly than we would all like. Of course, the recovery is buffeted by the waves of what's happening around the globe, different problems in different parts of the world economy. But the fundamentals in the UK are strong. We've got a clear and credible plan. We will stick to delivering that clear and credible plan. And I'm confident that the UK economy will come through this in a strong position relative to many other players.
So tell me a little bit about your trip in Asia. Have you actually rallied support, or have you found investors to come and invest in European infrastructure, in UK infrastructure? Are they concerned about a double-dip recession? Because although the emerging markets are so much stronger, they're not decoupled yet. If we go down, we all go down together.
Yeah, I think the point about infrastructure investors is that they're looking on a much longer time horizon. They're not going to make infrastructure investment decisions based on short-term stock market movements or even short-term economic forecasts. They're looking at projects with a lifespan of 30, 40, 50 years. And I think there is a lot of interest here in the potential of the UK infrastructure market. There's a lot of money out there in institutional funds looking for utility-type returns on safe investments. And the UK, as we open up our infrastructure investment market to more and more private sector investment, the UK represents a very good and interesting opportunity for them.
But do you accept that the UK is somehow losing out in the European fight for extra traffic, and crucial traffic also coming from the emerging markets?
If you're talking about airport capacity, we recognise absolutely that we have a challenge that we have to meet. We have a very tight climate change agenda, very clear targets for reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. We have very clear commitments that we've made about local environmental impact. But within those constraints, we have to meet the demands for additional aviation capacity coming from economic growth, and that will in turn support economic growth. And we've set out a strategy for developing a new aviation framework for the UK. We're engaged with the industry, we're engaged with users of aviation services, and over the next 12 months or so, we will develop and publish an aviation framework that will take us through to 2050, and that will provide for growth in aviation in the UK in a way that is compatible with our climate change agenda. And
is there one specific point in the infrastructure that we actually need to spend more money to make sure that the UK continues to grow?
Well, traditionally, investment in ports and airports has been private sector in the UK. Railways and strategic roads have traditionally been invested by the public sector. In the future, it's clear that we're going to have to bring more private sector investment into rail. We're consulting at the moment on the high-speed rail proposal to build a high-speed line from London to Birmingham, Manchester and Leeds. That will be a massive project. and there is scope for private sector investors to play a key role in that project, as well as in providing new strategic road infrastructure. So we're opening up to private sector investment in our infrastructure sector.
All right, Philip Hammond, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.